Yeah, so unfortunately, I only have 20 minutes, so I would try to do it fast and leave some time for questions. So as Gil said, I am scientist in background, PhD from the Weizmann Institute of Science, and then postdoctoral fellowship at MIT. I was and still very intrigued by the aging process. From very young age, I wanted to live as long as I can, delay the onset of aging-related diseases, improve the quality of life. And that's why I decided to become a biologist. Um, I worked at MIT at the lab of Lenny Guarenta, which is one of the leaders in aging research. In his lab, they identified the SIR2 family of the acetylases that I assume that if you are following the aging field, you know pretty well. One of those genes, for example, 36, have been shown recently by Israeli scientist Chaim Cohen to extend the lifespan of the mice when you overexpress the gene. There are also activator of this gene, for example, resveratrol, that I assume that is very popular. There are also some NAD analogs that now in the market that a lot of people taking as a supplement. And that's also pretty, I assume, pretty well known in the aging community, let's say. When I finished my postdoc at MIT, I decided to or realize that I can contribute more to humanity for start my own company than being a professor in academia. So I moved to the industry here in Boston, and actually I'm talking to you right now from Boston. And a couple of years later, I started a company called InsideTracker that, and the idea there is to help people to live a longer, better life based on what's happening inside their body. So we are looking into your body, we're looking at your blood biomarkers, we're looking at your DNA, we're looking at data from your fitness tracker, Apple Watch, Garmin, Fitbit, and other. And we combine all the data together and giving you a high definition view of your body. And then based on that, we can give you recommendation of that will help you, a very personalized recommendation that will help you to optimize your body, basically optimize your biomarker, which as biomarker are markers such as blood glucose or LDL cholesterol or testosterone or vitamin D. So we have around 40 something blood biomarker like that what we are testing. And on top of that, we are looking at around 70 different processes that or scores that related to the DNA. So for example, you have high risk to have high glucose because your DNA is showing that. And then you have high glucose in your blood. What should we do with that? So we are basically combining all of that together and giving you a very personalized recommendation about what food you should eat, what supplement you should take, what exercise you should do, and what lifestyle changes you should do in order to optimize your body and hopefully live longer, a better life. We published a paper, a peer-reviewed scientific paper about it in 2018 that showed that in a cohort, basically in a population of 1,000 user of InsideTracker, if you compare the level of blood biomarkers for baseline to follow-up, we have seen a significant improvement of the majority of those blood biomarkers, and a lot of them are biomarker of longevity or aging. We also developed something that we call inner age, which is basically something that is like a biological aging or biological clock. So I'm sure that, or I hope that you heard about Horvath's clock, which is looking at your age based on the epigenetic data. We are doing it based on blood biomarkers. And basically, we're looking at 16 blood biomarkers. And based on that, we're giving you your inner age. So I can, hopefully I can share my screen. No, I cannot. If enable me to share the screen.
Yes, one moment.
Sure. Let me know when can I try. I think that I can try now. No.
No.
It's in the security, I think.
No. Yeah. Okay. Nice. Now I think you can.
Okay, let me try.
You have it.
Yeah, I know. Share screen.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, now I can. Okay, so let me know when you can see my screen.
I see.
Okay, cool. So that's actually my result, my blood result, and you can see basically at the time that I got tested, I was 51.1, and you can see that at that time my inner age was 48.3, so meaning that I am younger than my chronological age by 2.8 years. We are calculating it based on the data of each biomarker, so you can see a lot of biomarkers here. And for example, if you look at glucose, you can see that my glucose is much higher than than the graph or the regression line that we develop in order to calculate it. That's why my inner age is higher based on glucose. But if you look at the other marker, let's take the one that makes me younger. Okay, A1C, which is also related to glucose. We can discuss it later. You can see that my A1C is much lower than than what is supposed to be in my age and gender. So that's why it gave me some year back. And basically, based on all of that, we calculate your inner age. We are also showing you the size of the cohort. So basically, the youngest that I can be, because I'm 51, is 38. The oldest that I can be is 61. And then you can also look at the graph, and I done this inner age, I don't know, 20 times or something like that. So you can see how the inner age is changing over time. You can see also the chronological age in green, the moving average of the inner age in purple, and basically the cone of uncertainty, basically when I will do my next test, where likely I will be. So it's basically showing to me where I will be likely. So that's the inner age in a nutshell. I can show you also a bit of the platform and what we are doing. But any questions so far?
Yes, like I see a lot of people are trying to produce those clocks. Like, is there a standard of how you do it, and what defines you from the other, if not?
Yeah. So yeah, the clock is an interesting. Let's say there is an interesting race right now to find a clock for aging in human, and the reason for that is that we are living long. So it's not like a mice that you can wait 3 years and then see what's happening. So in mice, yeah, it's still long, 3 years, but here we're talking about 82 years or whatever. Maybe for women it's a bit longer. And it is important to find biomarker of longevity in order to find a new the drugs, but also for us to know what are we doing wrongly, and then to based on that to give you an intervention or recommendation to change it and basically allow you to become younger or keep you at the same age. So that's why the clocks are so appealing and so interesting. It's also condensed the data of, in our case, of 40-something biomarker to one number. And for the average consumer, it's very easy to understand what is his inner age or biological age. It's very hard for him to remember what is his LDL, glucose, or testosterone. So that's the first part. The second part, how are we different? So what is nice about the inner age that we build that is actionable? So we are showing you that, let's say you are younger or older, then we are giving you a plan, which I haven't shown you again due to lack of time, but if you want, I can show it to you. We're giving you a plan of what food to eat, what supplement to take, what exercise to do, and what lifestyle changes to do in order to optimize your inner age. And then you can test again and hopefully decrease your inner age, or if not, refine your intervention and try to optimize your inner edge next time. Other clocks, let's take, for example, the epigenetic clock, or what I call Horvath's clock, based on the scientists from UCLA that develop it. They are not lifestyle responsive. So basically, it's very hard to change it. You receive the age, and that's it. It's not changing. It's not changing and respond to lifestyle changes like nutrition or exercise as the clock that I showed you right now. There are a lot of other ways to do clock, like some people looking at telomere lengths and other, but also those are not responsive. And also the correlation with longevity is questionable. So I think that what's nice with the clock that we develop, what I call inner age, is that it's a lifestyle responsive, meaning a person like you or me can see his age or his real age, or let's say inner age, and then bigger plan, follow the plan, and a few months later test again and see whether it's worked or not, which the other clock cannot do it today.
Okay.
Yes, I have a question.
Guys, maybe we keep the question for the for the end of the lecture, and I sent Gil in mail all the question because we don't have a lot of time. So let's give Gil to.
Yeah, but I'm not sure that we have a lot of time. We have 10 minutes, so I will be more than happy to answer questions.
Okay. Let's go with it. Go with the flow.
Yeah.
Go with it.
Yeah, it's less scientific. It's more of a user end question. Like I remember in 2010 or something, I saw an advertisement for like an aging clock. Like you do this test and we give you your age. Obviously, it was way less rigorous than your inner age product. My question is like this: it was advertised in a gym. How likely it is for such a product to be used by a wider amount of people? Because now I get the impression that inner age is like very enthusiast oriented.
So we have, again, we are located in the US. I don't know, where are you located?
Israel.
Israel, okay. So yeah, I'm not sure what's happening in Israel. I'm in Israeli, but I'm coming there to visit my family and live. In the US, we are pretty well established. We have a significant amount of users. We are growing very fast. Our customer base is growing 3x every year. We have, at least in the US, there is a strong acceptance of what we are doing. And also, we are not only working with consumer, we have also big entities or big customers that are using our platform. So it's definitely the right time. I think that also what happened with COVID, and I know that Israel also got it pretty hard, basically convince the audience that taking care of your body is very important. Your body is the most sophisticated, complex machine that you have. And if you won't take care of it will harm you later. I really like the analogy of the car. So every 10,000 kilometers, you take the car to the technician, you plug a computer to the car, know exactly what's happening, and then you do it again and again. And research showed that when we started to incorporate this routine maintenance, at least in the US, the lifespan of the car increased from 100,000 miles to 200,000 miles. So what InsideTracker is doing for you is like the routine maintenance. Or the diagnostic of the computer. You cannot plug a computer to your brain today, but you can plug a needle to your vein, extract a liquid gold. Based on that, know what are the issues that you have, and then take care of it. And a few months later, do it again, or 5,000 miles later, you can do it again and again. And hopefully to allow us to live longer, better life, because you can reach your potential. We are trying all the time to optimize you in a way that you will always be in the best that you can be. Make sense?
Yes. So how
Makes sense.
How often you need to change your the body is changing, and how often do you see that you need to give a new advice?
Yeah, no, that's in hills. Okay, so the blood test is a mountain. There is a wealth of information. It's very scientific. if you look at the backup of the data from the blood, is like there is at least 100 years back of knowing what happened with glucose, what is the right range, what are the right intervention, and all of that. But that's today, it's not something that you can do every day other than CGM, which is continuous glucose monitoring. Okay, so you do it every few months. Then between that, you have the hills, and the hills is the data that's coming from your fitness tracker. Your resting heart rate, your deep sleep, your REM sleep, HRV, VO2 max, and so on. So that's giving you a data between. And for that data, we can give you theoretically an intervention every day. For example, your deep sleep was low last night. I can send you a notification and tell you, hey, Gil, your deep sleep was low, but don't worry. Tonight at 8:35 p.m., because you're going to sleep every night on average on 10:35, you need to do X, Y, and Z in order to optimize your sleep, okay? So basically, the plan for the blood is more stable because you are not testing the blood every day, but the physiological marker from the fitness tracker coming every day, so you can give a adjustment, small adjustment every day. And also there is a strong correlation between those physiological markers and some of the blood biomarkers. So it can be a proxy for what happened with your blood biomarkers.
Okay, thank you. עופר, רצית לשאול משהו? עופר?
I'm here. So you said that actually you believe that we will act like a cow, that you have a treatment every few years in order to regenerate the dead, let's say, cells in the body. How often we can do it?
Yeah, so it's not every few years. I would say I'm doing it every quarter. So I'm doing it 4 times a year with the blood, and with the fitness tracker, it's all the time.
Yes.
But what we see with our consumer, that they are on average doing it every 7 months or so. By the way, you don't need to get tested with us. And by the way, in Israel, I'm not sure that it's easy to do it with us. You need to receive a home kit that doesn't have all the markers, but you can go to your healthcare provider, or I don't know, in Israel is Maccabi or Clalit or whatever, get the result, upload it into InsideTracker, and we will give you the plan based on that. So it's not, my hypothesis is that I don't care how the data come. I just want the data to help you to do it better. So if you have a data from your physician, upload the data and get the recommendation based on that.
Okay.
I ask a question. Gil, can you please tell us about your involvement with David Sinclair's company and the testing that he's conducting right now about the NMN molecule?
Sure. So David Sinclair done his postdoctoral fellowship in the same lab that I done it at MIT, the lab of Lenny Guarente. And so I know David also via Chaim Cohen, because at that time Chaim Cohen was a postdoc. Chaim Cohen was the first postdoc of David Sinclair when I came to interview at Lenny's lab. So I know David, let's say from 2001. I know him personally. Then he started a company called Sirteris, and I became a friend of him, and we worked together. And we also published a paper together about the effect of SIRT1, which is one of the SIRT2 human analogs, and the effect on cancer. So we published also a paper together. And when I started the company, I came to David and they asked him to be involved. So I was lucky to convince him to be involved, and he became an advisor and then also the chairman of the scientific advisory board. And so we have a very good relationship. I'm not involved in any other company that he have other than our company or InsideTracker. But I'm talking with David frequently.
But he's right now, I believe that he's conducting a test of nicotinamide mononucleotide on some soldiers in the American military. Is your company
He might.
Testing?
He might. We are not involved in that. I'm not involved in that. And if you'll ask me, should you take those supplements? Maybe that's the follow-up question. I wouldn't tell you if you should or not. I just can tell you that I'm not using them. I'm not taking them. I think that there is a big difference between what's happening in what they showed in model organism and human. It's a big difference, especially mice. If you think about the mice that we have in the labs, those mice are very different than the mice that you find in the streets, and those are like a industrial machine to create more mice. And I'm not sure that what we see in mice will really reflect in humans. So I would be, if you ask me if I recommend you to take it, I would say it's better for you to wait until we'll see maybe a result of the study that you are saying that he's doing with the soldier in the military.
Yeah.
Thank you. The reason I'm asking this is I'm not looking for a recommendation, actually, but what interests me is the possibility of conducting similar testing with other compounds in just civilians all over the world, recruiting them and using providers such as your company in order to establish whether these interventions can make any change in established biomarkers of aging.
Correct. So we done it actually. If you look at the literature, I have a publication. We done it with a company called BASF. I don't know if you heard about it, but it's a very big German company. I don't know, $100 billion revenue or something like that. That they developed a supplement to decrease LDL cholesterol, and they asked us to use our system to do that. We published a paper about it. So we are definitely doing it with some entities. But going back to aging or aging research, there are several studies that are running right now. I'm not sure with the NAD analogs, but I know that there is one about metformin, actually running by an Israeli person, Nir Barzilai. I don't know if you.
The same trial.
Okay, so maybe it's the same trial. So they are running it on metformin. Metformin is basically a drug to treat a pre-diabetic, and there is a lot of data in human actually that's showing that it can extend lifespan in those pre-diabetic. I'm not sure how it will reflect on not diabetic people, but that's a very attractive, let's say, target for longevity. And they are, I know that they are running or planning to run a trial on human to see the effect of metformin on a normal, not diabetic population.
Yes.
So
okay, I have like 1 minute. So if last question, and I'm sorry, I have to run.
can I ask someone else? Okay, I'll ask. So like we talked about the short period of time changes. Like, do you have plans tracking data for 10 years and see what's happened, and what do you expect to see?
Yeah, of course. So I build a company to last. So what is nice about what we have right now, I think that we have the biggest database of, I call it a free-range human, basically a normal human that living in their own houses of blood, DNA, and fitness tracker data. And I think that what is nice about it, that the time is playing in my advantage. So every day I have more customers, and the current customers are having more data, and that will allow us to see and to look at if someone joined us 10 years ago and is still using us, we will know exactly what's happening with him. We are collecting a lot of questions. So definitely we will see an effect in the long run. But again, it takes time because the company growing, and we haven't had as many users as we have today 10 years ago. We literally haven't had any user, I think, 10 years ago. So it takes time to get that, but we'll be there, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, thank you so much, guys. And
Thank you, Gil.
Enjoy the sun.
Very good.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Very good.
Bye.